Calls meeting to order at 8:01 p.m. Monday, February 13, 2017. Secretary Tobel, can I get roll call, please?
President Zaki.
Present.
Vice President Macy.
Present.
Parliamentarian Sheehan. Treasurer Gabe.
Here.
Treasurer Hatfield. Present. Senator Brown.
Present.
Senator Runte.
Present.
Senator Young.
Present.
Senator Funk.
Present.
Senator Hansen.
Present.
Senator Lash.
Here.
Senator Winter. Senator Dubinsky.
Here.
Senator Donarski.
Here.
Senator Campbell.
Here.
Senator Conrad.
Present.
Senator Sheeman.
Present.
Senator Kumar. Senator Garner. Senator Pandy. Senator Mecca. Senator Vincent.
Present.
Senator Kabaya.
Present.
Senator Clark.
Present.
And Senator Vanovich.
Present.
Rosenthal.
Thank you, Secretary Topol. Opening devotion, Senator Dubinsky.
This is going to be pretty quick, but this is something that
I went to AFLV recently for IFC, IFC and Panhellenic all went. And there's this speaker there who started this campaign called Because I Said I Would. Has anybody ever heard of this before? So the guy who came and spoke is an excellent speaker, but he basically came and talked about how your word is one of the most valuable things that you have. So being able to tell someone that you're going to do something and then actually doing it is super important. It's a life skill that not a whole lot of people have, and it's something that can like create or destroy a lot of relationships. And he started this movement because his father, who he said, you know, wasn't like a super famous person, wasn't like a super rich person, but always kept his word no matter what. And so he invented this thing where no matter where you are in the world, if you send this guy a message asking for these little cards, they say, because I said I would on them, they'll send them to you no matter where you are, no matter what the shipping cost is, and it'll be completely free for you. So I just wanted to come up here and kind of say, you know, we're in the Valentine's season, like the season of love, whatever you want to, spring, whatever you want to call it. But you know, there are a lot of ways to show love besides taking someone to Outback and buying them dinner with a gift card. Sorry, that was a personal poke. That was an attack at Sam. But so just when when you're dealing with everyone, not just your significant others, not just other people who you're in your orgs with, do things because you said you would, not for any other reason. Be true to your word. I'm going to leave a couple of these up here, so if you guys want to grab, I would encourage everybody to grab one, write one out. The idea of it is you give it to someone when you say you're going to do something, and then they give it back to you once you've done it. So feel free to give it a try. I'm going to leave them up here where we leave our name tags.
Thank you, Senator Dubinsky. Do you volunteer for next week's devotion? Senator Young, you look interested.
I wasn't. But if you want, sure.
Great, thank you for volunteering. We'll go to forum of concerns now. Does anyone from our audience want to give a short presentation as to why they're here? No? Okay. Then approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, please say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, nay. Great. The agenda is approved. Senators' reports. What do we have from the previous week? Nothing? All right. Senator Young?
The Lighters Cabaret event went, I wasn't able to stay there the whole time, but it went very well, and they had an excellent turnout.
Thank you. Other senators' reports? If not, we move on to advisors' reports. No report. Thank you. Officer reports. President Zaki.
So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our guests. I know you guys didn't mention it, but we have a guest here who's visiting Valpo and is considering coming here. And if you were to come here, it would be in the Student Senate. So maybe we'll see you here next year. So welcome. I have two things. One is we are in the season now for elections. So elections will be coming up to prepare our next set of senators and executive board members for the 2017 and 2018 school year. So if you are interested in running for a position, or if you know someone who would be, this is the time where we're spreading that around. So people can start thinking about how they would like to schedule their next year. So to do that, we need to have, on our end, we need to have an elections committee. And so the first step to forming that is to have an elections chair. And so someone who is eligible for that position is a senator who is a senior. So if you are a senior, you can apply through the screening committee from the application online, and then they'll screen you, and then the committee is formed. The committee is not just made up of Senate members, but other students as well. So that becomes a little bit more diverse, but we need someone who's very informed on what it's like to be in Senate to lead that process. I shouldn't say very informed, but someone internally in Senate to do that. So if you're a senior, you're eligible to do that. So please think about it, and I think we'd like the applications to be submitted by this week to get the ball rolling. So if you could do that, if that's okay with screening, by Friday, let's see. So that's number one. Number two, I wanted to mention that if you are a new member to Senate, and it's my impression that we haven't yet assigned people to committees, so I'm going to ask that you reach out to the administration committee via email or in person after the meeting, and let them know that you either are interested in a particular committee at this point from what you've seen, or that you would maybe need some suggestions from them, because this is a good time to join a committee. And the last thing I'll say with that is that Senator Tiemann has volunteered to take kind of charge of the transitioning that happens within Senate. So, we've always talked about making sure that we pass on the torch in a very strong and, I guess, fair way to the next people that come after us when it comes to committees and positions. And so it takes more than just each of us do that. It takes someone to really take charge of that. So if you're interested in that, that could be like a substitute for a committee. So yeah, just those two things: elections committee, chair, and then transition is also considered a committee. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, President Zaki. For my report, all I have is, for those of you, I talked about Dance Marathon a little bit, but this week is a special week for Dance Marathon. Registration is bumped down to $10. There's a goal to get to 450 registered dancers for the event on April 1st. So if you can, I encourage you to register a team. If you want to make a new team, or register with an existing team. And then also if you pay again this week, then you get a little discount. So I encourage you all to do that and look into that. Parliamentarian is not present. Do you have a report from her?
No.
Okay. Secretary Topol?
I don't think I mentioned in the general body meeting, but the mail out in the Senate office are labeled now. So feel free to start using them.
Thank you. PRC position is vacant. And then executive and assistant treasurer is Gabe Hatfield.
Just pay attention to the deadline. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports, executive committee.
No report. We have a meeting this week, like normal.
Thank you. Administration committee.
Just make sure you're sending your liaisons emails about the rerec that's coming up this weekend. Other than that, there's really nothing.
Thank you. Finance committee.
Just, talk to your organizations about the budget's due on the 19th and the 26th and shut them down.
Thank you. Committee on media.
No report.
Thank you. Screening committee.
Jeannie's not here right now, but we.
All right, who has, do you want to come up too? Because I don't know all the names we finalized on off the top of my head. So for the senior seat, we want to recommend Lindsay to, is it Baker? Lindsay Baker to Senate. Lindsay's been on Senate her entire career. The only reason she wasn't last semester is because she had a conflicting class. She wants to fill in. She said she wants to help out. She's been on pretty much every major committee, admin, finance, screening, a couple other ones when they asked her to hop on. So she expressed interest in, maybe helping with the transition between finance and admin, and then possibly elections if need be. So that's who we'd like to recommend as Senate for the senior position.
Thank you. What was the vote on that, do you?
Do you have the final vote?
It was 3.
3-0-0.
3-0-0. Okay. Is there any discussion on this motion? If not, move it to a vote. All those in favor of approving Lindsay Baker for the senior senator position, please raise your hand. Thank you. Opposed and abstentions? The vote passes 17-0-0.
For the open junior position we have, we interviewed a handful of candidates. We thought Joshua Felty was the best candidate for the position. He just came, he was very presentable. He knew all about Senate. He had a lot of experience. He handed out resumes. He talked about what he'd done in the past and what he sort of wants to see on campus been done in the future. So he was by far the best candidate that we thought, that we saw, and we definitely thought he'd be able to excel on Senate, and it was 3-0-0 as well.
Is there any discussion on this motion? If not, we will vote. All those in favor of approving Joshua Felty for the junior position, please raise your hand. Thank you. Opposed? And abstentions? The vote passes 16-0-1.
Sorry about that. So for the sophomore senator position, by vote of 4-0-0, the screening committee recommends Adam April for the position. He's an IRA and he's involved in CGAP. He was very interested in joining Senate, very enthusiastic about the position. He wanted to bring a res-life perspective to Senate because he's involved with that. Yeah, voted 4-0-0 for him.
Is there any discussion on this motion? Now we will vote. All those in favor of approving Adam Appel for the sophomore senator position, please raise your hand. Thank you. Those opposed and abstentions? Motion passes 16-0-1.
And for the PRC position, we chose Mark Young, our own freshman senator, by a vote of 5-0-0. Mark is extremely qualified for this position. He has a lot of experience with the technical aspects of the position. So HTML, CSS, technologies that are typically used to make websites and update them. He talked about how he's also run his own website, so he has experience with that. And being able to maintain the social media pages as well as reach out to organizations. And he's also involved in IMC, so he also has experience marketing and things like that. So I think it'd be a really good appearance for us. And the vote was unanimous, 5-0-0 from the screening committee.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this motion? Now we will vote. All those in favor of approving Mark Young for the PRC position, please raise your hand. Thank you. Those opposed and abstentions? The motion passes 16-0-1.
And since we've moved Mark to the PRC position, we now have a vacancy for the freshman seat. So we've kind of been discussing how we want to go about filling that. We don't want to send out an email to the entire student body at this point, just because it takes 1 or 2 weeks to get responses, 1 or 2 weeks to schedule interviews, and we're afraid that it's going to be March, or it's going to be March before we're actually able to get someone if we follow that process. So we're thinking of maybe either pulling from the people who ran last semester, or from people that we've had in the application process, who have applied through the screening process before. So does anyone have any ideas? I guess I open it up to the floor, in case anyone has any recommendations or anything that we should do.
I think it was 8 or 9 freshmen, maybe even more, who ran for our 4 seats. And I know most of them were very, very interested, so I would recommend pulling from those 5 names if we still have those 5 names.
I know I've also heard interest from people who didn't run at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
They would also want to be
Okay.
senators. So.
So we're not going to send out an entire email like to the student body, but I guess if you know anyone that's interested, you could just direct them to the application, to our website, Student Senate, and just have them like fill out the application, and we'll consider them for the position. And I think we want to get that done in the next 1 or 2 weeks. So if you could let them know to fill it out before Monday next week, so we can, meet with the applicants, and then have someone in 2 weeks, just so we can get all the seats filled as soon as possible. That'd be great. And, okay, one last thing is that we also want, something that we're going to be working with our new PRC on is updating the website so we have information about the different positions. Because like in the past when people have applied for PRC or parliamentarian or one thing or the other, like they don't have a lot of information about what that position actually entails. So we want to make sure it's out there so people don't have to go through the bylaws and the constitution to find it. We want to make it easily accessible for applicants. That's something we'll be working on, as well as reorganizing like our drive and the way we collect applications and things like that. So even though we're done with the majority of our applications, we still want to spend some time reorganizing just to make it easier for next cycles.
Thank you, Senator Mika. We move on to Committee on Residents.
We have a meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. in the meal room, however you pronounce that. And then we'll also have meetings every other Tuesday in the same place, same time, from that point on for the semester.
Thank you. Discount Card Committee.
Yes. So, got the cards in Wednesday, but there was a slight problem where Applebee's was like, never mind. So we need to cross off Applebee's on every card, and I was hoping that we could do that during Senate, because it would be awesome, because there's like 4,000 cards. Yeah, I know, it sucks, especially for me. It's like on my honor. So that'd be great if we could do that next time. That parliamentarian's not here, but everybody be like pretty nice.
Can like pick up a pen and just like.
We're thinking like just a Sharpie. If you have a better idea, toss it up here. Like I'm just, going with it. So,
Sharpies work.
Sharpie, it stayed on, so yeah. I can like go out and buy some Sharpies, or maybe we have some in the Senate office. I'm not sure, but if we do like 25 of us, it's a lot of cards, but like
We can work out the logistics
Yeah.
at the board meeting, but in the past, the Senate has done some paperwork at the end of our meeting.
Yeah, it's-
Related to discount cards.
So I'm cutting out the paperwork because we'll just send it over an email. So there's the plus. You don't have to fold papers. You just have to put a little X on a card. So.
Could you just include in the email that Applebee's doesn't work and
Yes.
have them tell the Applebee's restaurant that they won't accept it?
Well, what we don't want, we want to cross it off on the card because we don't want people to miss that email, take the card, go to Applebee's, buy their food, and then be like, I get 10% off. And then the guy will be like, no, you don't, because it would feel bad about it. And we don't, yeah.
Did they not sign a contract with you?
Yeah, but technically we can't enforce it, and
Okay.
if we could, I don't think we'd want to create that sort of like relationship, because we have worked with them in the past.
There's a situation where the store manager said yes, but the corporate said no, in a
Yes.
delayed fashion.
Yes, so like, the manager signed it, and then they were like, yeah, you can't do that. So thanks, guys. Next week.
More information to come.
Yeah, I'll try to do some like this week, because we do need to get them out to the mailboxes, but we'll see. Appreciate it.
Is there any way we could keep cards in the office, so that way anybody who's doing their office hours can start passing them out? While we're there?
They're already in the office, so yes.
So if you guys are sitting in the office and looking for something to do, go ahead and get a jump start on that, I suppose.
If not, next Monday, I guess. Maybe.
Make a game out of it?
Yeah, whoever does the most wins.
Thank you, Senator Young. Old business, we do not have any old business from last meeting, I don't believe. Is there any new business to present? No. Okay. Forum concerns, and the audience want to make a final statement before we adjourn the meeting? Okay.
Wait.
Sorry. Okay.
I would recommend that the winner of that competition gets a free meal at Applebee's.
Yes. I don't know if we have room in the budget for that, but we can try to work something out maybe. Postmortem, thank you all for coming and getting through this meeting pretty quickly. Thank you to screening committee for your hard work on getting some new centers. We're looking forward to seeing them at our next meeting. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say yay.
Yay.
Opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned.